If you've ever struggled with painting a glass, that's exactly what I'm going to cover in this video, okay? How to paint a glass. I'm Paul Foxton, an artist living in the Cotswolds in the UK, and I share painting tips and paint-along videos on my channel here. Why is it so hard to paint a glass? It's a tricky subject. And the key to painting glass is probably not what you think, because it's not so much about what you do paint, it's about what you leave out. So I'm going to show you how to do that in this video, okay? First I'm going to take you through painting the background of the piece, this piece here, this glass of wine. Because the thing about glass is you can see the background through the glass. So you don't so much want to paint the glass as you want to paint the background that you can see through the glass. Then we're going to put in the wine next. And then we're going to finish painting the body of the glass using the fewest possible brush strokes. And I think you'll be surprised how little you need to paint to make something look convincing as glass. And then we're going to finish up with the stem and the base to finish the painting, okay? So hopefully by the end of this painting, you're going to be able to see a way into how you can approach painting a glass, and you can have a go at your own version too. And then at the end of the demo, I'm going to give you a few pointers on the kind of brushes you might want to be using if you want to have a go at painting a glass this way. Okay, so stick around till the end and I'll have a few brush tips for you too. I've got my 10x8 ampersand panel ready here. This is linseed oil with a very small amount of solvent in it. And let's just see how little we can paint. It's got a bit of chroma there in the shadows. So this is Michael Harding raw umber. Where the background comes into the light, I want it to be slightly cooler. Let's just get some paint on here. Really, really low value on the right hand side. So this is Michael Harding raw umber with a little ivory black in it as well. In fact, all the colours that I use, generally speaking, are Michael Harding, with the exception of the lead white. I just want to get the impression of the slightly higher chroma, lower value, more towards orange up to the lights. All around here. Just troweling it on. So if the values are right and if the color balance is right, it doesn't take a huge amount of care to make it work. And because this is cloth, like where we've got a fairly hardish edge between the two plane changes here, the cloth obviously is going to be more curved, softer edge, and slightly higher because the cloth is on top of the tabletop. Doing these very simply, just blocking it in. If I look at like the middle of the painting is about there, it starts a little bit to the left and just below. Not painting what I can't see, and if I squint down I can't really see the difference, that very subtle difference in value between the top of the wine and the side. So now that I've started the body of the glass, I think I'll probably do that and then do the stem. And we'll start adding things in like a little bit at a time, as subtly as we possibly can, and see how little I can get away with before the glass starts to appear. So here's the thing about the reason that I'm doing it this way. Like I said at the beginning, like painting glass is about as much about what you don't paint as what you do. And the reason I say that, and the reason I'm doing it this way, is because what you see an awful lot when people go to paint glass is that they feel like they have to paint the whole glass, like there must be an outline around the glass, the whole glass, because you know it's there, right? You know the shape of the glass. So you think, well, if I'm going to paint this glass, I want it to look real, I'm going to have to put the outline in. And if you really strain and you look closely at this reference photo, you can see enough really subtle value changes to see the outside of the glass. But if you squint, you can't see them at all, right? And that's the effect I'm after. So this side of the glass, for instance, if I squint, I can't see the value change there, so I'm not going to paint that. The ellipse at the top, I can't see that if I squint, so I'm not going to paint it. At least not at the beginning. So let's start to paint some stuff up here so we can start to maybe feel that there might be a glass there. From here on, it's going to go pretty slow because I want to be careful about what I put in to make sure that each value that I put in is right, because it's really, really all about the values and the edges. Comes out a little. And then up. Remember, I'm trying to paint the minimum possible to get this to look like a glass of wine. I think that may be too light. Let's bring it down a little bit. That looks better. It's all about the values. So this is hopefully going to show like where the top of the glass, the top of the wine is, to suggest this, the bottom of the ellipse of the top of the wine. So I'm checking about a value 2, is that right? Yeah, about. Cut into it, make it the right shape. I haven't painted very much yet, have I? But it is beginning to appear, isn't it? I mean, I know there's no stem or anything. It's a bit of a surrealist painting at the moment, but it is beginning to appear. I haven't painted any outlines at all at this point, remember. And then we get like the lightest highlight is right at the top. Let's see what ChromaMagic tells me. ChromaMagic tells me that this highlight up here is a value 8. Okay? And it will be diametrically opposite this highlight here. So I want to make sure that they're the same distance from the edge of the ellipse, roughly, you know. Otherwise your brain will know that something is out. So let's use the cloth color because that was like an 8. This lead white is really nice for this, by the way. Lead white is nice because I don't know if you can see that, but I've actually got paint hanging off the end of my brush. You cannot do that with titanium white. So I want to put it down where I want it to go. It's a little bit in from the edge of the ellipse and then just lay down the rope. So over on the right hand side, like the big highlight over here, that wants to be the same distance in. Actually, that's gone a bit too wide there, maybe. I feel like I've gone too far in with my highlights here, but we'll see how we go. But it's diametrically opposite this one. This is the highest value here in the whole painting. So this is thick, right? This is lead white. Its highest value. I've got to find the start right and then try to drag it down. And then I'm going to work the background to try to make it the right shape, okay? So I'm trying to imagine the ellipse, this part of the ellipse. And I'm going to try and get this down so the top of the brush is at the right angle. And then just drag it down. I think I lost too much paint there. It's kind of skated over the surface instead of coating nicely, so I'm going to have to do that again. More paint this time. Yeah, we're getting there. It's too wide and slightly the wrong shape. But I'm going to put the lower value with the green in it underneath, where you can see the garden. And it actually comes down a little way into the wine, so it goes right the way across. So I'm going to put it in. I'm going to drag it back up because there's a sharp bit down here. And then I'm going to kind of sculpt them so that they're hopefully the right shape. So I don't have to get it perfect the first time, you know. I've inadvertently dragged some wine up into the air. but we're getting there. So now the background, I'm going to cut into that shape with the background color there. Background is getting darker there and more towards raw umber. Try and get it done in one go. Cut into it. And then on the other side, get it where it wants to be and cut in. Oh, it's too dark. No, I put too dark a value in. Never mind. I think it's still going to be all right. This is why I don't like to mess with the background after it's been done, because now I need to bring this value up. I haven't painted the outline of this side of the glass at all, but you can feel it's there, right? I haven't painted any of the ellipse. The only thing that shows you the ellipse is this, the top of this highlight and the top of that highlight. I haven't painted anything else. But it is coming, right? I mean, it's starting to appear. It's the values and the edges. You see, I've set myself the job of painting the absolute minimum, so I don't want to end up painting anything else that isn't necessary. The stem. You knew it was coming. However am I going to paint this straight line? I'm just going to have to do my best and then cut into it. So it's a light value. I'm going to try just painting the bigger highlight that you can see on the right hand side of the stem. The value is like, visually it's about the same value we've got here and here, so it's like a 6. So I'm going to put it in, try and get it straight, and then I'm going to cut into it afterwards. So I know it wants to start right at the bottom of the glass about here. I know it wants to end just above what would be the bottom grid line. So if that was the center of the painting, next grid line would be there. So it wants to end like about here. I'm going to try and get a hard edge on the right hand side, and then I can soften off the left. Down we go, gently, gently. Try and leave a very thin line on the left hand side. Let's paint the base of the glass as simply as possible. So it comes down to just below what would be the second grid line down from the middle, so that's about the middle. Second grid line would be like down about here, it's a little bit below that, so it comes down to about here, just coming into the light, I think. Nah, that's a bit too high value. So what brushes did I use to paint this painting here? Well, to do most of the background, I used a fairly large synthetic brush. Now this is a Rosemary's brush. It's an ivory flat. It's a size 10. So is this a 10? No, it's a size 6, sorry. The 10 is a little bit bigger than this. It's about 3/4 of an inch across the ferrule. And what that means is you can cover quite large amounts really, really quickly, quite large amounts of space really, really quickly. So you can get the background values established quite easily. Other options for painting backgrounds are, these are Cornelison's hog bristles. These are also very good because this is a flat, a very worn flat, and this is a filbert. These are really useful as well because you can get a lot of texture into backgrounds with these, and texture is life. So you could use either one of those type of brushes. Now for painting the highlights, for these longer highlights here, I mostly use these brushes. Now these are synthetic flats. Any synthetic flat will do this. It's about a 1/2 inch across the ferrule. This is again a Rosemary's brush. It's an angled eclipse. Really, really nice brush for this. Angled eclipse, 1/2 inch, Rosemary's brush. You could also use, say, something like this, which is Winsor & Newton Set to Gold. Series 606 flat, these are really nice as well. That's about a 1/2 inch across the ferrule. Basically any synthetic will do as long as it's flat and it will give you a nice hard edge. For one of those highlights I used a dagger. this brush here. So this also is another Rosemary's brush. I use quite a lot of Rosemary's brushes. And this one is let's see what this one's called. It's an ivory dagger. So it's basically the same as this. The ivories from Rosemary's are quite springy. They're quite strong. You know, they have quite a lot of resistance in the bristles. So that's quite good. And the dagger shape is actually goes up to a point. So that's really good for specific things like that's the brush I use for that highlight there on this one. And for the little details, any soft synthetic round will do. Okay, this again is Rosemary's really distinctive pink handle, and that's part of the botanical set. It's just any small synthetic round will do fine for that. Okay, so when you want to do something careful, generally speaking, with hard edges, generally speaking, I'll go for a synthetic, usually a synthetic flat. If I want to block something in quickly, oftentimes I will use bristle brushes, hog bristle brushes, or just a large synthetic flat will do as well. Okay, I hope that's useful to you. So I do paint along videos like this glass of wine demonstration live once a week on Fridays. If you'd like to join and you want to get the link to the video ahead of time, if you sign up for my email list, the link will be in the description down there underneath. Subscribe to the email list, and then I will send you out an email notification the day before the live video. They're lots of fun. You can ask me questions live as we go along, and I think you'll enjoy them. Okay, hopefully I'll see you on another one soon.